أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله صلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا إلى يوم الدين. We'll continue inshallah the explanation of a book المجالس الرمضانية written by our Shaykh Dr. Waleed Idrees Al-Meneesi ta'ala. And this chapter today, to summarize it inshallah, it is the قال كيفية دخول رمضان. How do we determine the entrance of Ramadan or the starting of Ramadan, which is always a discussion at the beginning of Ramadan, of course, among Muslims everywhere. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he made it very simple for us. Regarding the local moon sighting or the global moon sighting and all this discussion, we won't get into it because of the time. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam narrated a hadith. This hadith is narrated by many of the Sahaba, and they all narrated the hadith within the same terminology. Abu Hurairah, Ibn Abbas, Hudayfa, Jabir, Aisha, and others. أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال إذا رأيتم الهلال فصوموا وإذا رأيتموه فأفطروا فإن غم عليكم أو غبي عليكم فأكملوا العدة 30. The Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, he said, when you see the crescent, then fast, and when you see the crescent, break your fast. If it's not seen, meaning because of the cloud or anything that causes the vision to see the crescent, then complete the period of 30 days. So we have Sha'ban. Sha'ban, it's either 29 or 30 days. So if we are in the 29th, وَغُمِّيَ, even if we can't see the crescent, and it's Ramadan, but we can't see it with the naked eyes, and no one have seen it, okay? Then we should complete Sha'ban 30 days. That's the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. He said in the hadith, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, we are illiterate ummah. We don't read or write. Meaning this is on the default. And now we have calculation, we could read, we could know the timing. He said, we neither write nor calculate. Fast after seeing the crescent, and when you see it, break your fast. And if there is a cloud that prevents the sighting, then complete the period of 30 days of Sha'ban. That's the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. لذلك مسألة الحساب الفلكي يؤخذ به في when it comes to affirming, okay, when it comes to when it comes to denying over affirmation. Now people are doing the calculation before time. Like, what if the moon is not sighted anywhere? They still fast. Why? Because it's calculation. And the other way around. What if the moon is sighted and the calculation didn't start? And that's why it's more safe and it's better to go with moon sighting over calculation. 1. 2, we have global and local. The difference here when it comes to global and local moon sighting is that you could choose whatever you feel more accurate for you. Usually in this masjid, we choose global sighting over local sighting, meaning because there's other countries that could see the moon before us, which is possible. So therefore, we follow that. If it's been sighted and it's been seen, then we could fast. Local moon sighting is considered, meaning if somebody says, I'm not going to follow whatever country that is, I'm going to wait for the US, for example, or any country that shares partial of the night with us, then that is also acceptable. That's completely fine. Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu ardah, he came to Muawiyah radiallahu anhu ardah, and he said to Muawiyah, he said, when did you fast? He said, we start fasting. Ibn Abbas was in Mecca, Muawiyah was in Sham, Damascus. So he said, when did you fast? He said, we start fasting on Saturday. He said, we did Friday. And they share partial of the night, if not all. He said, هكذا علمنا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. This is how Rasulullah taught us, because moon sight. We saw it, we fasted. You didn't see it, you don't have to fast. But if a person sees it, then we could start the fasting, and this is the ijma', or this is the opinion of the four madhahib upon the affirmation of the starting of of the month. طبعا they differ here on how many people should see the moon sighting. Is it one person or is it two? That's the difference. Nowadays, alhamdulillah, we have groups, we have organizations that goes out and they also they see the moon and they're looking for the crescent, and they have equipment where it could make the sighting easier for them. Inshallah, the best advice to give is to for people also online too, is to follow your masjid. We don't want to cause trouble. Follow your masjid. Whatever your masjid decide to do, just follow the congregation because you're there. And it's always safer and less trouble. Just follow whatever the masjid method takes. As long as they have a method that they follow, then you could take it, inshallah. طيب يقول أحكام الصيام. Let's go into the rulings of صيام إن شاء الله. قال الله عز وجل وقل رب زدني علما وقال من يريد الله به خيرا يفقهه في الدين. Whoever Allah wants good for him, He gives him the understanding of the deen. أحكام الصيام. الصيام is to restrain or to hold from something. That's linguistic meaning. قالت إني نذرت للرحمن صوما. Okay. And Sawman here means that she's not going to speak. So she will restrain from speaking to anybody. That's her siyam. That's the way of fasting. So to hold from something. الصيام in the شرع هو الإمساك عن المفطرات بنية من طلوع الفجر الصادق إلى غروب الشمس. It is to restrain yourself or to withhold from anything that nullifies your fast, from the muftarat that breaks your fast, with an intention from the truthful dawn to sunset. We already know. حد يعرف الفرق بين الفجر الصادق والفجر الكاذب؟ هذا حملت لنا مشكلة في ديفيس من كم سنة تفتكروا؟ بس الحمد لله عداها، يعني سترها الله. الفجر الصادق is the true fajr. We have two fajr. Originally, we had the adhan of Ibn Maktoum, and then we had the adhan of Bilal radiallahu anhu. Ibn Maktoum used to call Rasulullah sallam for Fajr, first adhan, to wake him up. Bilal used to call him for the adhan to pray for Salah. Between them in Davis, there's about 8 minutes. Fajr al-Kadhib, the lying Fajr, they call it the lying Fajr, is the Fajr that starts when the light breaks in the middle of the night from darkness vertically till it turns or shifts horizontally. So as long as the light is going vertically, and the only way to see that if you go to a marina or by water and you sit and watch, you will see that the light breaks this way. It's dark and then the light breaks and vertically and then it hits horizontally. When the light breaks vertically, that is the lying Fajr, which you could eat and drink and do everything that you want till the light hits horizontally. Nowadays, we would just say from Fajr, that is 5:06, so we don't cause problems, okay? 5:16, okay, to 6:06. So I don't want anybody at 6:18 saying, oh, the Shaykh said there's 8 minutes, let me just go and I'm going to follow the sunnah on that. No, that's not a sunnah to follow right now because it will cause problems. We had that in Egypt, and the brothers used to go and they see the Fajr, so there was about 7 minutes difference. So in the masjid, the adhan will be called and they're eating a sandwich in the back and they're drinking. And the people who saw them, mashallah, beard and imam, 1 day, 2 days. So it caused a lot of problems. Of course, you don't حدثوا الناس بما يعرفون. You need to speak to people of what they are familiar with. Don't bring things that they are not. So that's siyam. So as-siyam is one of the pillars of Islam, to restrain. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, made it obligation upon us in the Quran, and Rasulullah sallallahu told us that is obligatory. يا الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام, the ayah. فمن شهد منكم الشهر فليصم. There's a clear command that we have to fast. It is one of the obligatory actions that a Muslim cannot deny fasting. And if a person denies fasting and says there's no such a thing as fasting, then that gets him out of the circle of Islam. Okay, all of this is the Siyam. So Siyam is Quran, Sunnah, Ijma', that is obligatory. And there's two pillars, and I'm going to summarize to make things very easy, because we have Friday session and I don't want to break everything. Friday session, we have 3 Shaykh who's going to talk about it all in details, inshallah, bring the community together. Two niyyah, 2 rukn, 2 pillars, very simple. Intention and withholding from anything that nullifies. That's whether you take the opinion that you need an intention for every night during Ramadan, or whether you take the opinion that you need an intention only for one for all as a package. So do you know which one are you? Every day? طيب. So you follow that madhab. Which one are you? Hanafi. No, don't tell me which one are you. I'm not saying, I know you're Hanafi. Huh? The full what? One package. One for all. Good. Which one makes more sense? One intention for all or one for every night? Wow, we have more Ahnaf. What if one day I sleep without an intention? Based on that, I have to have an... Oh, an intention is very... intention is there anyway. Praying Taraweeh, intention. Suhoor, intention. Just thinking to yourself. It makes sense to some people that it's everyday intention, because Ramadan, and the evidence is that if you fast Ramadan, if you break one day because you're sick, does it invalidate the rest of the month? So it's 1 day per day. But if you look at it as Shahru Ramadan, Shahru Ramadan is a package, one for all. Okay, I personally believe one intention for all, and it's the entire month. And if you break, you have an excuse, okay, to break, and it doesn't invalidate the rest, because we have other evidence for that. So that's the intention, okay? And intention is very simple, that you have to do it anytime before Fajr. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم من لم يجمع النية الصيام قبل الفجر فلا صيام له. If you don't have an intention before Fajr, then there's no siyam. I'll tell you, to be honest, this only happens in 2 cases. One, starting of Ramadan. يعني مثلا you go to sleep, okay? You go to sleep thinking that tomorrow could be Ramadan, maybe yes, maybe no. So you say, you know what, if it's Ramadan, I will fast. That doesn't work. For Ramadan, it does not work. Even if you wake up and it's Ramadan, it does not work. The second is if you're hesitant yourself to fast or not. I'm going to be traveling tomorrow. What happened? Oh, you put it on automatic? Yeah, just keep it on, inshallah. So the second part is that you have an intention. You're not affirmed with intention. You say, for example, I will fast if I am okay, مثلا, if you feel sick. If you wake up and you're all right after Fajr, does that count? Huh? Yeah, the sisters are gonna knock right now. So do you need an intention in that case? Yes, because if you say I will wake up tomorrow and if I feel better, I will fast, and you're sick and you wake up at 9 in the morning, can you fast? You can't. Why? Because you have to have an intention at night time, which is before Fajr, any minute before Fajr. As long as you just intend in your heart that you're fasting tomorrow, it should be okay, inshallah. So that's what the fuqaha are saying. طبعا majority of the fuqaha, they say you do need an intention for every night. Imam Malik rahimahullah ta'ala says one intention for the rest is fine. The second,
what if you make intention night before, but you miss your suhoor?
Yeah, missing suhoor. We already spoke about suhoor being a sunnah and also being manners of fasting. So if you miss suhoor, is fine. Your fasting is complete. قالوا أما الركن الثاني, and the second pillar is to restrain or to abstain from anything that nullifies your fast. And they are what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, the 3 things: food or whatever is a replacement, drinks or whatever is a replacement, and sexual intercourse. Okay, these are the 3. And as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala قال فالآن باشروهن وابتغوا ما كتب الله لكم وكلوا واشربوا حتى يتبين لكم الخيط الأبيض من الخيط الأسود من الفجر. The Prophet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, he mentioned the 3 that you're allowed to have, okay? So anything that is related to that. So for example, eating and drinking. Anything that goes into your that gives you nutrition, it nullifies your fast. Water is the same thing. So if a person, yani, I don't know why people do that, but if a person has endoscopy, for example, and he has a probe going in, okay, from his mouth to his throat to his stomach with a camera, and then they take it back out, does that break his fast? No, it doesn't. You know, that's not nutrition. Okay, even though he doesn't need to fast in that case. But what they say when they say nutrition means food or drink or the replacement of food or drink. Okay, sexual intercourse also applies to anything that brings into the desire of a person, that therefore the person ejaculates because of it. So that leads like masturbation, like watching something that moves his desire or any of that. All of this is haram too, not just sexual intercourse, meaning that it leads to breaking a person's fast, as the Prophet ﷺ mentioned. He said, number 5, whatever is a replacement for food or drink, خلاص, we already mentioned that. التقيؤ, vomiting intentionally. If a person vomits intentionally, it breaks his fast. If a person vomits unintentionally, okay, then he should continue his fasting. All right, unless, forgive me for, I know some people might be disgusted, unless they do what? They re-swallow their vomit. Then it breaks their fast. It makes sense now that why it breaks the fast. Okay, so vomiting does break your fast if it's intention. كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم من ذرعه القيء فليس عليه قضاء. Whoever unintentionally vomit, no, there is nothing upon him. If he intentionally vomit, then he has to make up the day. طبعا the Shaykh mentioned that hijama doesn't break the fast. That's the opinion of the even though the madhab according to a majority, but the Hanabila differ on it. The other thing is anything that goes through your nose, an opening that is your nose or your mouth that leads to your throat, to your stomach. So eye drop would not break your fast, but nose drop might, according to majority, if you feel the taste in your mouth. Ear drops, different of opinion. Is the ear an opening to the throat and the stomach or not? That's a discussion. Anything that goes through that smoke that you might intentionally smell, all of this could istinshaq, taking water into wudu. That's what Rasulullah ﷺ says. When you're fasting, do not overdo it. You take water into your nose and then you blow it out, because you're taking so much water in, it might go through, and then even if it's unintentionally. But you could use siwak, you could take shower, you could rinse your mouth. قال ولا يفطر من أتى شيئا من المفطرات إلا إذا كان عالما ذاكرا مختارا. You have to have 3 things. 1, عالما, you know that this breaks your fast, you have knowledge of that. 2, ذاكرا, you do remember, not out of forgetfulness. مختارا, that you have the choice to do so. So the Shaykh here mentioned the opinion of the majority, that if you forget, you ate or drink and you forget, then what do you need to do? You need to stop. First you stop. Don't finish the sandwich. Don't finish the bottle of water or the juice. Or if somebody sees you, they need to remind you. Okay, that's the case. So if you forget, then you stop, and then you continue the day, and you don't have to make it up according to majority. According to the Malikiyya, that's us, yani. Then you need to have. You need to make up the day. قال وشروط وجوب الصيام 6. I'll just mention it without explanation because of the time, inshallah. There are 6 obligation, meaning these are conditions that obligates fasting. So we could say fasting is obligatory upon who? Very simple. 1, Islam, a Muslim at the time of fasting. So if a person became Muslim at Maghrib time, they don't have to make up that day. Okay, so a Muslim at the time of fasting, 1. 2, maturity age. That differs between yani. So boys and girls who are not mature yet, they have not reached puberty age. Can they fast? Yes, they can fast, and they'll be rewarded for it. Do they have to fast? No, they don't. Okay, so that's the difference. Number 3, sanity. a person who's sane. Number 4, al-qudra. You have to have the ability to be able to fast. So if a person is not capable of fasting, like a person who's sick, then they need to do what? Huh? No, it's not right. If it's chronic sickness, that sickness that continues on with him for the rest of life, then all he has to do is what? Huh? He has to feed a person per day, one person per day. If it's not chronic, this is about $12 or so, okay? If it's not chronic, like a flu or something, then this person could do what? They make it up. Same thing with our sisters who are breastfeeding or pregnant. Okay, a sister who's pregnant, she doesn't have to fast, and she could make it up. A sister who's breastfeeding, she could break her fast and then make it up. Okay, there's another option for her. A sister who's fasting, there's another option that she could feed without feeding if she's pregnant. Okay, she could feed without fast. And some says she need to feed and fast, and some says she only has to make it up. قال الإقامة مع شروط. If someone woke up sick and they broke their fast and then they felt better by 12 noon, should they continue? Should they stop eating and drinking for the rest of the day, or should they continue on to eat and drink? Huh? They should continue eating and drinking? No? Well, the ulama says out of respect to the day of Ramadan, they should. But to be honest, why not? I know that the ulama says out of respect to the day, they should withhold. But does it count? Then why would we restrain it? We could put a restriction here that is better than this. We could say what? He should not or she should not eat and drink in public. That makes sense, out of respect to the day and out of respect to Ramadan. But in their own house, why not? He's sick. He might. Why not eat and drink? And same thing with a sister she started her period or her menstruation period in the middle of the day. Okay, and she already fasted. Should she continue on to fast? No, she could eat and drink. But the thing is, we will tell her, don't eat and drink in public, because don't go to Chipotle or In and Out in Ramadan and people see you. Nobody know that you're sick. Okay, that's one thing. Or traveling. That's number 5. Traveling. So a condition for fasting is the person has to be a resident. Or if you're traveling, you could break your fast according to majority. According to the Malikiya, you cannot unless you travel before Fajr. But you could break your fast. Take the majority opinion always in this case. Take the majority, because it's very hard upon people to travel and fast. And as long as you travel within the distance, which is what? More than 48 miles. If I'm gonna travel 48 miles, when do I break my fast? And now I know I'm going to LA. خلاص? It's more than 48 miles. When do I break my fast? So after I leave Davis or when I get to LA? I have to finish the distance, pass it, and then break? Well, as soon as you leave Davis, your resident area, you could break your fast. If you know that you're going more than 48 hours. Number 6, which is the 6th condition for people to fast, السلامة من الحيض والنفاس شرط لوجوب الصيام. To be free from menstruation or post-bleeding, post-birth bleeding. That's only for female. Okay, so if a sister, مثلا she woke up with her, مثلا that's her 5th day, and her blood stops on the 5th day. By 11 o'clock, she is completely pure. Does she fast? No, because she has to be pure before. She has to be pure before Fajr, or she has to shower before Fajr. Pure. So what matter here is that she is pure before Fajr, even if she delayed the shower to Maghrib. Even though she has to pray Fajr Dora. But the point here is that the blood stops before Fajr, so she is pure now. She has to fast, because shower is not for fasting. Shower is for salah. Okay, for reading Quran. Fasting doesn't require for a person to be. Same thing, this applies to a person who wakes up from a wet dream or who had a sexual intercourse at night time. He woke up after Fajr, مثلا. He didn't shower, but he intend to fast. Can they fast? Yes, they can. They take a shower later? Yes. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Aisha said, he used to wake up, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, after a night that he had with his wife, and then he would shower after Fajr. After Fajr here means after Adhan, after Salat al-Fajr. He would wake up after Adhan al-Fajr, and then he wouldn't have the time to take a shower, so he would do the shower after the Adhan, and he would fast, continue on fasting for the day. هذا والله أعلم وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد. جزاكم الله خيرا. I'll see you tomorrow.